voted for President Trump.
Yes, sir.
Why did you vote for him?
Because I was an idiot. 80% of the evangelical Christian people were lied to, if you really want to know the truth, and that's exactly what happened. They said criminal, and I believe criminals need to be off the street.
I just want to make sure people watching this understand who you are.
My wife and I, when we don't work, we're ministers. We help the needy. That's what we do.
Right now, we're in a very dire situation. September's upon us, harvest is starting in the deep south, and we have 0 bushels of soybeans on the books to be sold to China for this current crop that's about to come out of the field. Historically, over the last 5 years, about a third of soybean sales to China would be booked. China amounts to 25% of our total U.S. soybean crop. So that would be 8 or 9% of the whole U.S. crop would normally be on the books with China right now, and we have 0. That is alarming. The farm economy as a whole is struggling. Inflation has caused our cost of production to rise drastically on every front. Commodity prices, in particular soybeans, are down about 50% from where they were 3 years ago. And our numbers are deeply in the red. And we send this letter to President Trump because we've been talking for months about needing to have sales in place, a deal in place, a phase 2 type agreement that has purchase commitments along with a level playing field on trade with no tariffs. And we haven't had anything happen, unfortunately. And our appeal to President Trump and his administration is make soybeans a priority in any trade negotiations that are taking place. Soybeans are the #1 agriculture export to China. And in the last trade war, it was 71% of the losses that we had as American farmers. And they're critical.
Yeah, so if we look at, and we're going to divide. So I'll stay with grain and oilseeds because that's what I do day to day. But I just have to say one thing about livestock. For livestock folks, we're in good world for them right now. So I'd love to be able to have as good a world that they're having in GNO, but we just don't. And so there's just so many things, and it's really a supply story this year. When you think about across the globe, we haven't had a year where every country's almost on all 8 cylinders where we're getting full production. And that's where we are right now. It's also too a bit of a dichotomy in the US is that we're building corn stocks, but the world is not. Or it's just the opposite in soybeans where the world's building soy stocks and we're not. And so it's a very weird world, but the fact is we just have so much supply in the world that's just going to keep prices, really on the defensive.
Farmers all over the country are getting screwed over by the federal government in 2 ways. One way is that the federal grants that were assigned to them, already approved, are now being canceled. And the reason they're being canceled is based on lies, according to people interviewed from these farms and agencies who help, people of color buy land and start their farms. They were told that there were reports of misuse of funds, taking vacations, buying RVs. Those things never happened according to the people interviewed. But yet, these false allegations without any proof was enough to cancel their federal grants. And this goes for farms, organizations that help farms. $300 million in grants gone, wiped out, taken away from the farm community. On top of that, this right here is a screw worm. This was a pandemic in Texas in the 50s in the cattle industry. This is a parasite that enters the cattle, livestock, lays its eggs, and then the maggots or larvae eat their way out of the livestock. It's the stuff of nightmares. But it took a lot of money, a team of very smart scientists to interrupt the breeding cycle of these parasites and to stop it. And there has been a constant flow of funds to this specific topic of keeping screwworms away from this country, away from our livestock, and DOGE cut those funds. When that funding was cut, there was no more testing. The farmers were noticing that they were starting to see it again, notifying Republican representatives of this problem. Representative Don McLaughlin had been begging the federal government to care, to pay attention. He said they're moving at a snail's pace, and we need them to move fast, because once this is here, it is so hard to get rid of, and this would decimate the cattle and beef industry too. Imagine how much, how much beef is right now. Imagine if half of livestock in Texas is infected with screwworms, thanks to Elon fucking Musk, who roto-rooted his way through every office, every agency, every budget, wiped out databases, collected your data, and then split town. Why? Don't get me going on why. We know why. 10,000 lasers in space. I'm happy to go vegetarian for some of these MAGA farmers to learn their goddamn lesson.
U.S. farmers are starting to regret their vote for Trump. From beekeepers to soybean to hay producers, all of them are starting to say, I never thought that voting for Trump 3 times would result in me losing tens of thousands of dollars. A beekeeper out of North Carolina says, yeah, I proudly voted for Trump all 3 times. I flew flags for him and put signs for him in the yard. But now I'm out tens of thousands of dollars due to lost federal funding and tariffs, so I cannot export my products, my honey and my wax, to other countries like I could before, and nobody's buying it in the United States. Hay producers in Idaho and Utah that export alfalfa hay to China are now seeing 135% tariffs put on their product, and all of a sudden, they don't have anywhere to ship it. They held it all winter in hopes of sending it off to China in the spring, and now China's not willing to buy. Soybean producers are once again being hit harder than they were in the first Trump administration, and China, for its part, has diversified where it pulls these products from, with Brazil becoming the #1 soybean exporter, and other countries picking up the slack for honey, for beeswax, and for hay around the world. Now, China's doing a great job diversifying, and the United States has relied on exports to China for so long that its farmers are going to just continue to suffer. Once again, the majority of them voted for Trump, and now they're finding out.
Trump has betrayed farmers. These are skyrocketing. Fertilizers up 48%. 70% of farmers cannot even afford to purchase fertilizer. Farm bankruptcy update. That's chapter 12. April. There is an 82% increase from March 2026 to April 2026. An 82% increase. Now let's get into April 2026. Chapter 12, farm bankruptcies. April, year over year, April 2026 compared to April 2025. You won't believe this. In an effort to help farmers, Trump has lowered tariffs on equipment from 25% to 15%. And by the way, yes, those were ruled illegal. And yes, the importer in the US pays the tariff and passes it on to the consumers. So he still doesn't get it. And those tariffs, 25%, 15%, when the farmer is drowning, is asinine. Our economy is collapsing every single day. If you found this post informative yet disturbing, please like, comment, follow, and share for more.
So how are we, the people that voted for Donald Trump, supposed to continue to support him when his name has been mentioned 5,000 times in these files that have been dropped?
We're going to play this video in full. But first, we have to fact check her in real time. Check this out. It wasn't 5,000 times that his name was mentioned. It was 38,000 times across the files, including mentions of Trump, Melania Trump, Mar-a-Lago, and related terms. It's mind-blowing. Did you really have to see the files to know? All the pictures with him and Jeff. All the pictures with him, Jeff, Ghislaine Maxwell, Melania. All those pictures with them together. The videos with them together. That wasn't enough. I guess I'm going to have to do it. I told you so. We told you so. Before I show my audience your video, I want you to know something. You were used. Not only by him, by MAGA. You were used. Let me show you how I know. This is how I know. They never cared about the children. This is what they cared about. And I'm going to read this to you. From App Patriot Girl. I don't know about you, but I voted for retribution and revenge. I voted for Trump to crush the left so badly that they are afraid to show their faces in the light of day. I voted for swift, vicious justice and no mercy. It's a good thing that I'm not God, because hell would be a lot more crowded right now. It was never about the children. No, not about the children. We knew that. We knew that. It was always about revenge. Swift, vicious revenge. They don't care what they do as long as they own the libs. It's a sickness. And you were used by them. Your intentions were pure. Your intentions was to save the children. All the stuff they put in your head about the Dems and what they did to the children, or what they said they did, was bullshit. It's always been on the other side, on the side that you voted for. Now, knowing this, let's watch your video.
So
This video was tough to watch. We saw raw emotion, now breakdowns from people who are realizing that the policies they supported are now the one haunting the person. And there's a phrase that kept popping up in the comment section of these clips. It was an open book test. The warnings were there. We saw people in the comments saying they have been shouting this for years, but it seems some brokers only woke up when the king caught their wallets and their calories. What's fascinating is this deconstruction process we saw from the MAGA clips. It shows that knitting a political movement like this isn't just about changing a vote. It's about thinking to yourself again. After years of compliance, you see the regrets from the evangelical and immigrant communities who now think their support for crime or immigration policy backfires and their own neighbors. In the comment sections, people were having zero empathy because they feel the monster was always visiting. But regardless of how they feel about their apology, the fact that 3 times voters are publicly asking for forgiveness tells you that MAGA core dynamic is fractured. Is this a real political awakening, or are people just jumping into shit because the water got cold? Tell me what you think in the comment section, and make sure to subscribe to this channel. Thank you.